Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we'll be taking a look at the track Jaded by the Canadian metal band Spiritbox. This is the second song to be released from their upcoming EP Fear of Fear, which is due to land on November 3rd. We already get to hear The Void all the way back in April, which really showed this ethereal sound they seem to have gone with, whereas on the Rotoscope EP it was much more twisted sounds, almost had a much darker feeling to it. Certainly with The Void it felt much more spacious, much more atmospheric, and felt like it linked a little bit more back to Eternal Blue, their debut studio album, which really showed exactly what the band were capable of, really put them on the map with the very strong reviews that it did receive. So will this latest track shine brightly or be dull and forgettable? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
I feel alone in my body. I feel a silence underneath. In these valleys of blood, in these rivers of rust. Shoulder all the blame again. We were locked into the end. It was violent and rough. I was never enough. But what if I was stable enough to wind me down the road? Like the remorse swam. What if I was inside 1,000 lives to get my goals? It's never enough, it's never enough. And I've always been ashamed that I wanna fall into a dream with my honor desecrated, blood is jaded. I've never found a way to be honest. All I know is a place where I haunted, memories faded, blood is jaded.
Okay, I'm so glad to see Courtney returning to these harsher vocals. It's something I felt was missing from The Void. It really felt like they'd gone a bit more almost mainstream and really kind of tailored their music towards something that sounded a bit more almost radio friendly really, but with this we can really see them reverting to that sound that we did see quite heavily on Eternal Blue. They really just continue to build this space with this track. You can really see, I love how they've got this very wiry, quick guitar just dotted at the back of the mix. It's not overpowering, really making great use of these very thudding drums to really add a lot more energy to the track, really add a lot of power and a lot of space to it as well. So I'm really enjoying the way they're still building on these big soundscapes they're really including, and already we can see this is a track that really touches on the idea of kind of feeling alone, or something feeling like you're letting yourself down and really not having that self-confidence. I feel alone in my body, I feel a silence underneath these valleys of blood, these rivers of rust. So you can almost see this very desolate kind of situation that somebody's in, valleys being quite open and spacious. So they're also making great use of the lyrics to add to this spacious sound they've got in these rivers of rust. So very picturesque in the way that it's trying to paint this picture, really set the details out. Mirror locked until the end. It was violent and rough. I was never enough. So you can see that self-doubt coming in. I was never enough. I was never good enough. And you can really see that as the way that Courtney's in the actual visuals, kind of looking down a lot of the time, almost like she's got her head down, really just kind of not having that confidence to kind of look up. So it's really great how they've played on that. And one of the lyrics I really love that they did using the refrain, like a remora swims. It's typically a fish that attaches onto whales and things like that, larger marine animals, and really just kind of is guided along by them. It uses them as almost a vessel to travel and do things like that. So I like it's almost this idea of attaching onto somebody else and using them as a pilot in your own life. So I really like that. But what if I was stable enough to wind me down the road? So you're kind of being guided by somebody else, or letting someone else take the driver's seat and you're almost in the passenger point. And also the other line, but what if I was inside 1,000 lives to give my ghost? It's never enough, it's never. So you can see this constant repetition of the fact that you are never enough for something or somebody or anything like that. And I like the line in the chorus, all I know is a place where I haunted memories. Feel almost like this idea of digging up the past, haunting these memories you've tried to forget, this darkness that you've got in your past, and really just digging it up and continuing to return back to it and haunt it. And blood being jaded, I really like their use of this because it's something we do see in quite a lot of music, references to the blood. It's almost your life essence, and the fact that it's jaded, you feel a bit cold-blooded almost. You don't feel like you're kind of shining. You don't have that confidence in yourself. So I like the way that referencing to your essence almost as being jaded, and you don't feel truly like yourself. So it's a great way they've managed to actually fit that into the track as well. And you can really see as we move into the next verse, in my dreams all I see is a crimson key. You know the way to unlock that door to go back to where you want to be, but it's tethered by a falling string. So you can see this demise, this self-downfall almost that's meant to turn in the lock for me, and I can't leave this, so I justify. So you kind of look for ways to kind of remain in your box almost. It's that idea that you have the key to get out of a bad situation, but you just don't know how to use it because you can't justify the reason. You feel like an interloper, so you can see almost like you're feeling like you're stuck inside somebody else's body under pressure of influence. I love the way they're making great reference to this idea of being trapped inside yourself and feeling like you are almost becoming jaded, you're becoming a husk. It's really showing quite cleverly through a lot of these lyrics. What if I was? And then that again, that hushed backing vocal, it's never enough. Also got some really strong elements in the very back of the mix to really again add these layers to really give it this much more atmospheric feel that they seem to be going with on this EP.
I've never found a way to be honest. All I know is a place where our haunted memories faded. Blood is
And I like how at the end we almost get this rhetorical question. What if I was? What if I was willing to step out of this cage and have that self-confidence? What if I was jaded? You don't really know exactly what that question's pondering. Maybe they're leaving it open for what will be the next song almost appearing on the EP. But I really love the way they're talking about these haunting memories faded. So really dwelling on the past. You can really see how this song revolves itself so heavily around that self-doubt, that lack of confidence, and not being willing to escape and push yourself forward. It's something that really want to focus on, certainly with the title of the EP being Fear of Fear. So that fear that you have of actually kind of making the wrong decisions, of doing the wrong thing, and I certainly think they brought that across very, very well. And I love the Remora reference, this idea of latching onto somebody else to almost guide you, being stuck in the past. You can really see how that shows this idea of confidence, and again making reference to things such as the water with voids and things like that, creating these big open spaces for them to really play around with in terms of the music. And I like how they're also including lots of different elements at the back of the mix, again adding these layers to stop it from just sounding quite basic and quite flat. They really have put a lot of elements in that really accompany Courtney's vocals in her ability to really show those extremely strong cleans, but also dip into those more aggressive tones as well and really show what she's capable of a vocalist. I'm glad to see them making a return to this more aggressive style, almost like you're stuck inside your own head with these two ideas that you've got really being shown through the cleans and the uncleans. And I love how it's almost got this clash of these two styles, really, with one part of you wanting to step out of the cage and one wanting to remain within. So definitely another strong showing from the band. I don't know if it still quite lives up to the same power that we did see on Eternal Blue. I do still think that is going to be possibly their magnum opus. I would love to see them take a stab at another full album rather than these short little EPs, but they're certainly showing that they're able to continue expanding on their musical style, really try lots of different things as well, as we have seen with the 2 tracks from this EP so far, going for this much more ethereal sound as opposed to the twisted sounds of Rotoscope. But definitely another strong showing that will serve as a great addition to their discography. So that'll be everything for today's video, but please feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. How do you feel it lives up to the other track we have heard from the EP in the form of The Void? I would love to know your thoughts. Also, if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next audio analysis.